Terribly exciting, isn't it, sir?
Why is that, George?
Well, one of these young ladies, sir, is slated to become Mrs. Rodney Strong, now that his family have deemed it time that he settle down and marry. That's him there, sir.
Yeah.
Although rumor has it that he's been peculiarly uninterested in entertaining the company of young ladies up to this point, sir.
Oh, is he...
Shy, sir. Extremely shy. An unusual trait, given that he's widely considered the most eligible bachelor in the entire city of Toronto. The whole country, I reckon.
Thank you for coming. I know that for a modern woman like yourself, such events must seem rather old-fashioned.
It's nice to have a night out on occasion.
I had no idea that Toronto was such a genteel city.
Oh, we're very sophisticated.
Some of the most eligible young ladies in the city, sir, are vying for the prize. Sir, this is Madeline Wellwood, eldest daughter of Ralph and Millicent Wellwood.
Oh, the mining family.
Yes, that's right, sir. Excellent. Not really considered a contender, though.
And I must say, Toronto society has been most welcoming.
We're Canadians. We always are.
Oh, this could be troublesome. This is Jenny Berridge. Suffice to say, there's little love lost between her and the other young ladies, who, by the way, sir, have all taken up residence in this hotel for the festivities over the next few days, apparently because none of them want to let each other out of their sight.
I'm grateful they included Elizabeth. I know she was loath to miss the London season.
We're English aristocracy. As such, you and Elizabeth are already celebrities.
I appreciate that. But I must admit, I hardly thought we'd be arriving in the middle of a marriage lottery.
Oh, this is unfortunate. Irma Fairhurst, sir, 23 years of age, sadly past her prime. In fact, they say the only reason she's in attendance at all is because her family are picking up the cost of the entire event.
George, how do you know all this?
Madge Merton, sir. Her page for women in the Toronto Daily Star is essential reading for anybody who wants to know the ins and outs of Toronto society. Ah, Faye Sloan, sir. They say she has cut many to the quick with her razor-sharp tongue. In fact, Madge Merton says there is a movement afoot to have her tongue registered as a deadly...
All right, that's enough.
Of course, sir. I'm just trying to edify you, sir, in case you're called upon to socialize me.
There she is. Doesn't she look lovely?
She does.
I must say this eligible bachelor could do a lot worse than my Elizabeth.
I thought you said you didn't know about Mr. Strong's necessity to marry.
Oh, I didn't. But if he has to marry, just look at her.
This is it, sir. This is the big moment. Ruth is about to make her appearance.
Ruth?
Sir, Ruth Embry. Only the odds-on favorite to win the bachelor's hand.
It's Ruth. It's my Ruthie.
Oh, Rodney, I'm so sorry. If there's anything I can do. She was lovely, and I'm so, so sorry, Rodney. If there's anything I can do to comfort you, anything.
Look at those two. About as subtle as a couple of dolly mops.
This is horrible.
Of course it's horrible. Ruth was my friend.
But who would do this to her?
Who? One of you three, of course.
I'm afraid I'll be needed for some time. Yes, of course. Come on. How would she end up here?
Someone she knew could have lured her up here. The only way in is through the door we entered. The manager said that they were doing repair work on the ceiling. The lath and plaster could have given way when the blood weakened it.
Most unfortunate time.
You know, sometimes I'd give anything for just a quiet evening with my wife.
That's what I.
I don't want to be here anymore. I need to get my sleep.
Yes, of course, you can go, Miss Burridge. Ladies and gentlemen, you're all free to go, but please register your names and addresses with one of the constables before you do. Thank you.
Would that mean we can leave together?
Yes, I suppose we can.
Elizabeth, we need to be on our way. Come on, my dear. Let's get you home. It's absurd.
What is?
Well, surely your husband doesn't think any of these young women capable of murder.
Anyone is capable of murder.
Roll your tongue back into your head, Higgins.
Sir, I wasn't.
So this strong chap, he's got the pick of the bunch, has he?
That's what I've heard, sir.
Lucky bugger. Who's the one sitting down?
It's Lady Elizabeth Atherley, sir. She's the daughter of a friend of Dr. Ogden's from England.
Atherley. I've heard that name.
And her mother is Lady Suzanne Atherley, sir.
Ah. You've not packed that in then yet?
No, sir.
Well, if you're gonna smoke them, make sure you get something other than those bloody cabaggios. Smell worse than my sweaty old jockstrap. Not likely to impress the ladies.
Higgins, you're the cream of society. I hardly think you stand a chance.
Well, then introduce me to one of the girls who danced with Miss Balloon at the Star Room, George. Probably have better luck there.
Like who?
Doesn't matter to me.
See, Higgins, that could be your problem. You don't care what kind of woman you're with as long as you're with one. Women notice something like that, you know.
Thanks for your help, George.
Henry,
What?
you've lit the wastebasket on fire again. You better be careful with those things. You're going to burn the whole station house down.
Miss Wellwood? You were staying on the 4th floor of the hotel?
We all were. I imagine that's why you're talking to us.
And did you not notice Miss Embry's absence in the hours preceding the event?
I could hardly pay attention to anything but my nerves.
Was Miss Embry well liked
We're all well liked.
by the others? It's been suggested that Miss Embry was the #1 candidate to win Mr. Strong's hand.
That hardly matters now, does it? I didn't see anything.
Nothing unusual, Lady Elizabeth?
Well, it's all unusual to me. The other girls, everything. 2 weeks ago, I was at home in England, quite happy with my life, and now I'm being paraded around like a prize cow at a village fair.
If there is anyone you should be talking to, it should be Irma Fairhurst. The poor unfortunate thought she was going to marry Rodney.
Why would she think that?
She was pledged to him ever since childhood. It was something both families wanted until Ruth came along.
And did you want to marry Mr. Strong?
I wouldn't have said no, but I certainly wouldn't kill for the chance. Look at me. I'll have plenty of options, but Irma?
What were your feelings about Miss Embry?
Oh, I hated her. I have no difficulty admitting as much.
Because she stole Mr. Strong's heart.
Because she entrapped him. She told Rodney that she was in the family way, and Rodney, being Rodney, had to do the honorable thing. Now that she's gone, he'll surely come back to me.
I see.
That's not true at all. If Ruth was pregnant, I would have known about it. We were best friends.
She would share this with you.
She would share everything with me.
Miss Sloane?
She had a secret. Something about one of the other girls. She was going to tell me that night.
What was it?
Oh, I don't know. But I will soon enough.
Miss Sloane, this is a matter for the police
Ruth was my friend, and if she knew something that cost her her life, well, then I intend to find out what it was. Are we done here?
There were no surprises. The wound on the neck was the cause of death.
And the type of knife?
A common sabatier of the brand in use at the hotel. They had no record of how many they had in stock.
I see. And Miss Embry herself, she was pregnant?
No. She was not a virgin, but she was not pregnant.
You're quite sure?
Of course. Dr. Ogden confirmed it herself.
But Dr. Ogden was here?
Earlier today, before she was spirited off. Lady Suzanne Atherley came in. She said she needed Dr. Ogden for something terribly, terribly important.
I see. Thank you, Miss James, and good work.
Thank you.
It's lovely, my dear. But perhaps the décolletage could be a bit more continental. You only have so many chances to catch Mr. Strong's eye, and the man's eye is the surest path to his heart. Isn't that right, Julia?
I thought it was his stomach.
Perhaps. If you want a fat husband.
Mother, I don't even know this Mr. Strong.
He's a fine man. A man of breeding, even if he is a colonial. His family have good roots.
But I just think...
He could give you a good life, my dear. A life you deserve. Let's get her out of this, shall we?
Yes, ma'am.
I suppose it's good fortune that Ruth Embry is dead.
No, Julia. It's horrible. But if I've learned anything in this life, it's that one must always move forward and play the hand that one is dealt. If death has provided Elizabeth with this opportunity, then we must act upon it.
And what if she doesn't see it as such?
She's only a young girl. She hardly knows her own mind.
Mother!
Just a moment.
Now don't go acting all holier than thou, Julia. And both you and I know how ruthless you can be when push comes to shove.
you getting dressed?
In time?
I was hoping you might come with me. I'm going to see the building lot I was telling you about. The one overlooking the Don Ravine? It could be perfect for us.
Well, you go. I trust your judgment.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Another time.
I'm sure it's wonderful.
You and Miss Embry were close?
More than close. I was going to marry her.
One of the ladies suggested that Miss Embry was carrying a secret, one that may have cost her her life.
What was it?
I was hoping you might enlighten me.
I'm sorry.
Did Miss Embry try to force your hand?
What are you suggesting?
Did she force you to marry her?
Heavens, no.
Did she tell you that she was with child?
No. Was she? I had grown quite fond of Ruth. I thought she would make a suitable bride.
Have the two of you been intimate?
I don't see how that's any of your business.
Mr. Strong.
Yes, we had been. Now I fear that will be the last happy day of my life. Look at this. All of them pretending to be sorry for me.
Pretending?
They know I have to marry. Each one of them is just hoping I'll pick her now.
My God. Each one more maudlin than the last.
Get rid of them.
Strange, nothing from the English girl. I suppose breeding shows. Rodney, it's time.
Yes. Another reception. Time to paste a smile back on my face. Give me a minute?
Of course. He's a good man, Detective. His heart is heavy, but he'll recover.
It seems odd that he would have to go through with all of this after the woman that he loves just died.
I don't know that he loved her. She was simply his first. And he will honor his commitment to his family. That's more important.
Who would have the most to gain from Miss Embry's death?
Any one of them. The Strong's family fortune is considerable.
Of course. Thank you.
Rodney, we should get a move on. Rodney?
Mr. Strong!
Sorry.
Sorry?
Just the circumstances of my life. And at times, just feels too much. I wish I could disappear.
Then why marry?
I have to. My obligations to my family are stronger than the ones to myself. I would have married her regardless, with child, without child. But, Detective, believe me, I had nothing to do with Ruth's death.
No, I don't think you did. But in the future, when the police come calling, don't run.
Thank you.
Poor Irma.
Why do you say that?
Have you seen her face? She has broken out in the most terrible case of hives.
That's so unfortunate.
I certainly hope it wasn't the cold cream I loaned her. Here he is.
Excuse us, ladies. Mr. Strong, forgive me for being forward, but I don't feel we've been formally introduced. I'm Lady Suzanne Atherley.
How do you do?
This is my friend, Dr. Julia Ogden, and of course you've met my daughter, Elizabeth.
Welcome to Canada, Lady Elizabeth.
Thank you.
I do hope this evening will be less trying.
It would give me great pleasure if you would join us.
I should circulate.
Yes, I'm sure. But we won't keep you long.
Well, will you look at that? I suppose you should have tried to marry him when you were both 12. At least then you might have stood a chance.
You look like you want to be here as much as I do.
Obligations.
I know exactly what you mean. Family is often equal blessing and burden.
And sometimes less than equal, I'm afraid.
It's true. But there's nothing to be done about it. It being the one part of life that you can't choose.
You've been enjoying Canada, Lady Elizabeth?
Yes. It's lovely. Even though I've only been here for such a short time, I could imagine a life here.
Do you think they're hitting it off?
For your sake, I hope so.
Oh, it's not for me. It's for her. Everything I do is for her. That's what family does.
Brilliant white gown, blood pouring down, and then a big crash, and her body comes falling from the ceiling.
Did she hit anyone?
Yes. Well, almost.
Well, I must say it sounds a lot more exciting than my coming up party.
You were a debutante.
Well, there's a lot about me you don't know, George Crabtree.
Well, I look forward to finding out.
We'll see about that. Oh, it is deadly dull here tonight.
Ah, well, this should liven things up.
Thought I'd find you here. I just told the door I'm on police business. Would for cover charge.
Excellent thinking, Henry. Nina, you remember Henry?
Of course. You do realize those door fees help pay my salary.
I'm Henry. Henry Higgins.
Charmed.
So, what are you ladies up to?
Working?
Well, I suppose it's my lucky night then.
Yours and everyone else in here. At least for the paying customers.
What did she say her name was?
I don't think she mentioned it to you, Henry. Higgins! Oh, for the love of You're not just gonna burn down the station now, it's gonna burn down the entire city.
Have you seen him lately?
Who?
Mr. Strong.
Haven't really been paying attention.
You know who else is missing? Elizabeth. Now I wonder what the two of them could be getting up to.
think I'll see you back at the hotel.
I'll see you there.
Man.
Beautiful, isn't it? Young love. You and the detective were once like that, I'd bet. Just remember, murder put them there.
So all you have are some photographs of pretty girls?
And motive.
Kill the girl set to marry the bachelor and become next in line.
The knife yielded nothing. We have no witnesses. Motive is the best avenue of inquiry.
Maybe it wasn't one of the debutantes. Maybe she was killed for some reason we've yet to discover. Something completely unrelated to this wedding lottery.
I don't know, sir. From what I've discovered, she lived a quiet, unremarkable life.
Her family?
Respected and admired.
Those are usually the ones worth watching.
I don't care if it's late. He'll want to hear this. Detective Murdoch.
Who's that?
Faye Sloan. Apparently the deceased's nearest and dearest friend.
Please, ma'am.
Let her in, please. Miss Sloan, what can I do for you?
I told you Ruth was holding on to a secret.
Yes, you did.
And now I know what it is.
Julia?
William,
I thought you were to be at that reception.
I was. I had enough.
And Lady Atherley?
Oh, she's still there, monitoring her daughter's progress. She's hoping Elizabeth will become the future Mrs. Rodney Strong.
Julia, I need to bring your friend in for questioning. Lady Atherley may not be exactly what she seems.
Now, what is it, Detective? It's quite a busy week.
Is your relocation to Canada a permanent one?
Possibly.
May I ask why?
You're a detective. I didn't think you needed permission. I thought you just took it.
Why have you moved to Canada?
That's hardly your concern.
I've received information that you've recently suffered great loss financially back home.
Well, that's not true. But even if it was, what better way to start afresh than in a new country, full of potential and opportunity.
And wealthy young bachelors looking to marry quickly.
I killed a young woman so that I could prostitute my daughter.
Your words, not mine.
No, sir, but they are your insinuations, as they are those of Miss Sloan. Miss Sloan asked some friends of mine back home about our situation. They wired me to notify me of her inquiries.
I see.
I'm surprised you believed that little snoop.
You deny her claims?
While my family's financial situation may not be as robust as it was while my husband was alive, we retain one thing we shall never surrender. Breeding.
I'm not quite finished, Lady Atherley.
I was with your wife in the hours leading to that poor girl's death. I could hardly have been aware of the situation regarding Mr. Strong's need to marry prior to my arrival in this country. Now, are we finished? Thank you. I know he has a job to do, I understand that. But really, this is beyond the pale.
William is a very thorough man.
Who thinks I'm a murderer? He as much as accused me of killing that girl.
Well, I'm sure he was just...
I hope you'll be able to disabuse him of that notion. Oh.
I was doing my job.
Well, I told her as much.
But?
Was there a need to accuse her so directly?
I was prodding a suspect. The same as I've done 100 times. Should I have gone more easily on Lady Atherley because she's a friend of yours?
I suppose not.
Julia, what is it? What's troubling you?
Nothing.
Julia, these past few months, it's as though you've been living under a dark cloud.
Well, that's what happens when one's every waking hour is consumed with murder and tales of murder.
It's the life we've both chosen.
I know that. But perhaps there should be more to life than death.
In the name of the English rose who has pricked Mr. Rodney Strong's heart, Lady Elizabeth Atherley. Young Lady Elizabeth has certainly made an impression on Toronto's most eligible bachelor. And with only days before Mr. Strong is to make his announcement, young Lady Elizabeth seems on the brink of turning Toronto society on its ear. Well, this doesn't bode well. Pressure's now going to redouble on Rodney Strong to marry Miss Fairhurst. It's what both the families want.
Why do you read that old bat, George?
Henry, Madge Merton is an authority on this and a keen observer of high society, and she has excellent advice regarding haberdashery.
Bring her in.
Bring who in?
Madge Merton.
Sir, it's the height of debutante season. Are you mad? Should be very busy.
I assure you, George, I am not mad.
Very well.
They're the cream of womanhood, all of them. I can hardly imagine that one of them would commit such a heinous crime.
I've heard a rumor that Mr. Strong was pledged to marry Irma Fairhurst.
Oh, that might have been true when they were children, but it certainly isn't the case now. Mr. Strong has no interest in her, especially after...
After what?
I shouldn't say.
Mrs. Merton, this is a police investigation.
There was gossip that Irma was committed to an asylum. Poor girl.
Do you know where?
I do not. But she is an unhappy young woman who seems destined for a life of spinsterhood, especially now.
Well, thanks for your time, Mrs. Merton.
You will keep me abreast of future developments. My readers are keenly interested in this story.
Oh, you'll be the first to know.
And Detective, the readers would love to know about your and Dr. Ogden's marriage.
I prefer to keep them guessing.
Shame.
I'll ask Dr. Ogden about Miss Fairhurst.
Murdoch, if you have a minute, have a seat.
Sir?
How is the missus, if you don't mind me asking?
Sir?
2 weeks ago, when the Board of Control denied her request for additional funding for the morgue, I would have expected to see her in here all guns ablaze. Instead, not a dicky bird.
Perhaps she already knew that she'd been denied.
It's never stopped her before. She's not the type to take no for an answer.
Well, sir, she has been different since the incident with Eva Pierce, but I've spoken to her about it, and she assures me that she's fine.
Never trust that word when it comes out of the mouth of a woman, Murdoch. When Margaret says she's fine, I know that I'm one step away from the doghouse.
But she is a strong woman, sir.
I've no doubt of that, Murdoch. She was shot 3 times. Sometimes physical strength is not enough.
I'm sure she'll get through this.
Nina, thank you so much. I love you.
Me too.
I'll see you soon.
If looks could kill.
Indeed.
Sir, I'm inclined to believe if Lady Elizabeth is not our killer, she may very well be our next victim.
George.
Are you here to visit? Or am I still under suspicion?
The investigation is proceeding. Where might Julia be?
Didn't she tell you? She declined to come. Said she wasn't feeling well.
I see. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir.
George, I may have to excuse myself.
Something unusual, sir?
No, Dr. Ogden isn't feeling well.
Sir, one of the debutantes is not here.
Which one?
Faye Sloan. In fact, I haven't seen her all evening.
Keep an eye out for her.
Right.
Inspector.
Good evening, Doctor. I was wondering if I could have a word. I know it's hard to shake, but there's no shame in it.
In what?
Fear. You know that I felt it. You helped me get over it.
You did that yourself. I had little to do with it.
Still, Doctor, if there's anything troubling you...
Inspector, there's nothing troubling me.
You were almost killed.
And I wasn't. I'm not afraid of anything. Just feeling a little blue. The perils of being alive, I suppose.
You're lying. You're not the same woman you were before.
Inspector, thank you for your concern.
Doctor, I feel...
I'm fine. Now, please, good night.
Good night.
course you're fine. You're the one that's still alive.
Miss Sloan? Miss James?
Unless the cause of death is a surprise, I'd say it's as plain as the nose on her face.
Still, due diligence, please.
Of course. But I must say, I never knew there was so much peril in being young, rich, and white. Yes, I spoke with her. We had words right in the very room where you found her, but she was alive when I left.
What words?
She was unnecessarily cruel. She told me I was well past the age Rodney was interested in. But she's wrong, you know.
Of course.
Now that Ruth is gone, everyone will see that.
Miss Fairhurst, have you ever spent time in an institution?
Who told you?
Have you?
My father had me committed 10 years ago. He'd hoped to cure me of my fear.
Fear of what?
Fire. He took up smoking when I was a young child. There was an incident. He fell asleep and lit our house on fire. All of my dollies were destroyed. I couldn't imagine their suffering. After that, I found the idea of smoking intolerable, and it gave me nightmares.
And did he not stop?
It has a hold on him. So he sent me to the asylum to cure me.
Well, you seem fine now.
Thank you. But could you imagine a worse death? To be consumed in flames? If I was to kill Faye, that's how I would have done it. A bullet seems almost merciful. You won't breathe a word of this to Rodney, will you? It might upset him.
So she's a nutter?
Perhaps. But if she intended to kill those two out of malice, I believe she would have used a different method.
So why kill Faye Sloan? She had no interest in marrying Mr. Strong.
The only one that seems to have motive for killing her is Lady Atherley.
Agreed. She knew Faye Sloan was snooping around, all but admitted her situation. Perhaps there is something else she's hiding.
I've wired Scotland Yard. A detective there has agreed to look into it for us.
Well, the Bobby best get to it. At the rate we're going, there's going to be nobody left to marry this bloody bachelor.
Higgins, if this is about Miss Hall...
it's not about...
Because she's clearly not interested in you. I know that might be a bitter pill to swallow.
It's not about Miss Hall.
What is it then?
See for yourself.
Is this what you brought me to see?
No, George.
Higgins, you have to stare.
Isn't that the point?
Come by and see you.
I have something for you.
Yeah?
Here.
Thank you.
Come on. George, I didn't know you were here.
No, apparently not. Is he one of the secrets I'm not supposed to know about?
Hardly. This is my brother Samuel.
I see.
Sam has just started a new business. I'm giving him a helping hand.
Right.
Thank you, Nina. You won't regret it.
I'll see you out.
brother.
Yes, I can see that, George. I thought something wasn't on the up and up.
Something isn't.
What's that?
What kind of a man borrows money from a woman?
I don't know, George. A sensible one?
There's something else. I've seen him somewhere before.
Time to go, Rodney. Tomorrow is the big day.
Well, tonight's a big night.
Yes, but tomorrow you must announce your intentions.
Oh, I think my intentions are clear. Don't you, Elizabeth? One more drink, Bish. You'll join me.
I'll leave you to it. Detective Murdoch,
Lady Elizabeth,
Have you found anything about what happened to those poor girls?
the investigation is proceeding.
I don't know how you do it. Surrounding yourself with such tragedy. I think it would break my heart. You are a brave man, Detective Murdoch. Gosh, forgive me for prattling on. I have a big day tomorrow.
Yes.
One I would have never thought possible. Good night.
Good night. Julia? Pardon me. Any response to my wire to London yet?
Not yet, sir.
The minute you hear something.
Of course.
I knew it. I knew it.
What is it, George?
Sir, Nina Bloom's brother. I knew I recognized him. He's a thief. He's a proper scoundrel. I'm going to speak to him.
Has he done something wrong?
Not recently, sir, but he certainly has in the past.
George.
Sir, it's a personal matter. I need to have words with the man.
Miss Bloom lent him a considerable sum of money, sir. George seems unreasonably upset about this.
Henry, keep an eye on him.
Sir.
You're a thief.
What?
You did time in the Don jail. 18 months, I believe, and a whole string of crimes before that.
Leave me alone.
And now you're going to steal from your sister.
She's loaning me money.
Loaning you money that you're then going to lose.
Now, hold on.
If I find out you harm her in any way...
George! What is going on?
He wants me to give you your money back.
You'll do no such thing. George, what makes you think that this has anything to do with you?
I'm just trying to look out for you.
And I don't need your help. This is family business, not yours. Now, if you don't mind, I'm gonna go back to helping my brother open his business.
Nina. Nina!
George.
Let's go.
Are you sure?
I don't know. I think so.
Mrs. Rodney Strong, you will be the toast of Toronto.
It hasn't happened yet.
I know. What if he's just having me on?
Oh, don't worry. All you can do is look your best.
Oh my God! Honey, decent! Out!
Hello? Hello? Are you in here?
You're here. Good. Oh, don't despair. It's what you want.
Both you and I know that. Join me.